Martial arts mindset out here at Los Angeles, California. We're at Cobrinha Brazilian Jiu Jitsu headquarters. We have Professor Cobrinha here himself. Professor, you are fresh off a win at the IBJJF World Championships, and you and I were talking earlier about how important mindset is in martial arts. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think we are having a conversation before about the mindset, and I believe the mindset for athletes it's 90 to 8. I mean, most people. The reason why I would say it's 90%. It's because most people they train physically, and they forget to train the mental part, which is like they feel like they feel like they're strong, they feel like good before they step on the mat, before they step at the competition, when they before they get a competition. Actually, most of my athletes or the people I have know, it's before the week before the competition. That's when they start sabotaging themselves, which is like, oh, I got an injury here, or I'm not feeling well, because they are giving these excuses already to if something goes wrong at the competition. And when they get the competition, of course, that's going to reflect on them as well. When they get there, they start feeling nervous, and the adrenaline would drain them, which is it's normal because they did train the mental aspect, which the mindset. It has to be sharp as well. So that's my thoughts, right, and insight about the mindset of champions.
So, what's your mental edge when you compete? You've competed at such a high level for so long. You've won ADCC, you've won world championships. You actually are. You've been considered to have the best guard of the decade. What keeps you mentally on top for so long?
Uh, One thing I do a lot, I train my mental, which is I don't just train it physically. And one thing I tell my student, and I do for myself as well. I don't think I have to prove anything to anybody. I have to prove to myself. I get at the competition thinking that preparing to the competition, I'll get there thinking that I'm there to prove to myself it's possible. I'm not there to prove to anybody. And I know that winning, because I always say to my students that winning or learning, I'm going back home, back to my relates, and then I know that they will support me, right? They will show me the love. That's the reason why I always tell people, if they want to do well at the competition, thinking about that, never think to prove anything to others. Prove to themselves it's possible, and I'm sure they'll take all the pressure out of their backs, and I'm sure they're going to do well at the competition. And plus that, I keep seeing that in competition, but before the competition, it starts here at the academy, which is people are going after each other here at the competition. I mean, excuse me, I'm sorry, at the training at the academy. And then they feel like a lions here, right, at the academy. But when they get at the competition, they feel like a domestic cats, right? Because they think over there they have to prove something to anybody, which is like, I feel like I don't have to prove anything to anybody over there. That's the reason why when I get there, I loosen up. And I tell people the other thing too. When you get at the competition, have fun. Find a way for you to get over there and have fun. To not block yourself. To not get there and act like you never done this sport before, right? It sounds like some people they get there and they're sharp at the academies, but when they get there, they act like beginners, right? Because they freeze up. So if you freeze up, nothing you can do about it. And again, I've been there before, and I know how that works. And then the thing one clicked it on my mind, saying, what am I doing here at the competition? Oh, what do you mean? What are you doing here? You are here to have fun. You are here not to prove anything to anybody. You're here to prove to yourself it's possible. Then I start to relax more. And plus that, what I do, I tell my students as well, and I do for myself, take advantage of the other athletes, not the other athletes who don't work on their mindset. Because when you get a competition, thinking about that, if you're feeling nervous, but you know how to control that, if you feel that adrenaline, you know how to control that. You can use that against your opponents because they're feeling the same. They're feeling exactly the same. But who's going to be the one who's going to take advantage of the situation, right? So that's my insight, for you who competes, and of course, for the mind of champion, we have this things. We always have the patient, right? Because we are not going to get the things the time we want, right? We have to have patience for that. Sometimes we're gonna train your mind, train everything, every aspect we need, right? By the book. But once you get the competition, things sometimes the time don't go the way we thought would go. And then what do? We go back to the lab again, we start grind again, and then we're going to do everything again by the book and change what need to change, keep working on the mindset, and go back and win. The reason why I'm saying that, again, I've been there before. The only title I was missing in my career, it was the ADCC. Okay, so and I won everything. And ADCC, it took me 4 years, almost 6 years. 6 years to win one title, which is like the ADCC happens every 2 years. I went the first year and I worked super hard, mindset, everything. But I went there and I lost in the final. Right, no problem. I wait for another 2 years, which is like don't lose the math. 4 years. And I went to the final again. I worked super hard. I went to the final, and guess what? Boom! I lost again the final, but I didn't give up, right? Because of the mindset as well. I said, you know what? I know I can do it. I'm going back again to the lab. I'm gonna work harder, and I work it super hard. I went 2013 all the way to China, and I fought for 45 minutes in the final. Boom! And I won my first title in the CC. And then 2 years later, was 8 years. I went to Brazil recently, 2 years ago, and also I won my second title. And this year, as you know, I just won my fifth title in Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm going for my third title straight in ADCC as well in Finland. It's going to happen on the end of September, and I'm gonna start my camp soon, and I'll be ready physically sharp, and also mentally I'll be sharp as well.